Welcome to Alt Protein. I'm Stephanie Hope, working on research-led innovation on health and food. Health backed by science. Today, we're covering the best personal trainer certifications for women's health. Women's health is finally getting the attention that it deserves in the fitness industry, but which certification is actually worth the money? As a former certified group fitness instructor, mat Pilates instructor, and spin instructor, I've worked with women through pregnancy, postpartum, menopause, perimenopause, you name it. In this video, I'm going to be comparing the biggest women's health certifications available now in the market, which includes Girls Gone Strong, NASM, and ISSA's Menopause Coach Certification. We're going to cover what each certification teaches, who each program is best for, the pros and the cons, which certification offers the best value, and whether specializing in women's health is something that a trainer should do. If you're a personal trainer hoping to niche down, I hope that this video helps you come up with a decision. If you've been looking for certifications online, you will have noticed that there are so many different types of certifications to choose from. And everyone claims that they're the best in women's health education. So which one is actually worth your money? Before I became a full-time writer and content creator, I was very involved in the fitness industry. As I mentioned, I was a mat Pilates instructor, a spin instructor, a group fitness instructor, and I even dabbled in Zumba. During that time, I worked with women in every single stage of life. I worked with women who were just starting their fitness journey, women recovering from postpartum, women dealing with hormonal changes, women trying to exercise while dealing with menopause and perimenopause. And one thing became really obvious to me. Your standard personal trainer certification barely scratches the surface on women's health. But the good news is that that's changing now, and there are a few options to compare. But first, let's talk about why women's health matters. The fitness industry has spent decades pretending that everybody just needs to train the same. Then we started realizing pregnancy changes things in women's bodies. Postpartum, that changes things too. Perimenopause, that changes things. And menopause, that definitely changes things. There's sleep changes, recovery changes, hormonal changes, strength changes, and energy changes. You might even notice that clients are asking questions that a typical CPT might not even be able to answer. And that is why these certifications have exploded in popularity. So what makes a good women's health certification? Before comparing programs, let's talk about what actually matters. For me, there are 4 things. First, scientific accuracy. Women's health has become one of those things where there is so much misinformation and myths floating around on social media. You want education that is evidence-based, not based on someone's viral Instagram reel. Second, practical coaching. You don't just want to understand estrogen and progesterone. You need to know what that actually means when you're writing these workouts for your clients. Coverage. Some certifications cover things as wide as menstrual cycles all the way up to menopause. Others are incredibly specialized, and neither of these are wrong. And finally, number 4, career value. Will this certification actually help you attract clients? Because at the end of the day, education and continuing education is amazing, but this is still your business and your job. Girls Gone Strong. If you told me I want one certification that covers everything, or almost everything, this would be my recommendation for you. Girls Gone Strong isn't really just about exercise, but also about meeting clients at every stage of their life. We've got pregnancy, we've got postpartum, pelvic floor health, nutrition, behavior changes, hormonal health, body image, and even things like PCOS, Hashimoto's, which I suffer from, emotional eating. It's incredibly comprehensive. I also really love that it isn't solely focused on programming workouts. It spends a lot of time teaching you how to coach women as people. The downside is that it is definitely an investment, both financially and time-wise. So if you're only interested in a very specific part of women's health, like menopause, then this might be a little too much, honestly. NASM or NASM's fitness specialization. If you are already certified through NASM or NASM, then this one will make a lot of sense. The teaching style will feel very familiar to you, the interface is very similar, and the structure is familiar. Compared to Girls Gone Strong, though, this specialization definitely focuses more on programming. So you'll learn more about how women's physiology will affect exercise, and things like how hormones can influence training, modifications for pregnant women, and just all kinds of programming, things like that. So if your entire business revolves around designing workouts for clients, then this is a fantastic option. I just wouldn't say that it is as deep as other certifications when it comes to diving into more on women's health. ACE takes a totally different approach. Instead of saying, here's one giant women's health certification, they basically let you build your own education. Maybe you only want pregnancy-related, like a pregnancy-related certification. Or maybe you're focused more on postpartum. Or maybe you only want menopause. You can pick individual continuing education courses based on the topic that you're interested in. And sometimes this is better than committing to like one huge program. And I do think that's pretty smart for trainers who have maybe extensive knowledge but want to fill in some gaps of their knowledge when it comes to more specialized content. The downside is that it can feel maybe a little bit pieced together and less like a cohesive program. So it might feel more like you can say, oh, I have education in menopause, unless I am a menopause coach, if that makes sense. ISSA Menopause Coach. This one really caught my attention because unlike the other ones, it is very specialized. Menopause. That's what it's covering. And honestly, that is a very underserved population in the fitness industry. Women in perimenopause and menopause are currently seeking trainers who can understand what their body is going through. They want to know why recovery changes for them, why body composition is changing, why their sleep is changing, why some workouts that they used to do just are not doing it for them anymore. ISSA focus specifically on training trainers to focus on these kinds of topics. I also think that this creates a pretty interesting business opportunity. Basically because it is still a relatively underserved niche. So if you're trying to differentiate yourself as a trainer where you live, maybe there is just an oversaturation of trainers and you really want to stand out, this is a fantastic certification to promote your work. The trade-off is obvious though. It's obviously not going to focus on pregnancy or postpartum or any other kind of issues like PCOS or Hashimoto's or just any other kind of topic. It's a very specific niche, and you might feel that that pigeonholes you a little bit, but it's still a solid option. So which one would I choose? Well, if I'm being honest, I don't think that there is one solid winner. They're all very different and will depend on what you want to do as a trainer, what clients you want to have on your roster. What are you most interested in learning and teaching your clients? If I wanted a very comprehensive program that just kind of covered everything, I would go with Girls Gone Strong. If I was already a NASM certified trainer, well, I'd obviously just go with that. If I was focusing way more on menopause in a very specific niche, I would go with ISSA's Menopause Coach program. But if you just want to collect continuing education credits, which we all need to do when you're a trainer, ACE is a great option. One thing I've noticed over the years is that women are not looking for the same things we were. We're not just trying to count the reps and move on. We're not focused on just running on the treadmill or using the elliptical. We're really focused on our health and getting stronger and fitter, and that requires us to learn a little bit more about our own body and where we are at in our current stage of life. And that's when a trainer like you comes in. A trainer that cares about your hormones, your postpartum recovery, your menopause journey, your perimenopause journey. That's the kind of trainer that stands out, because when a client feels understood and listened to, everything becomes so much easier. So if you are a certified trainer and you've been thinking a lot about specializing in women's health, I think this is the perfect time to get started. And I would love to know, if you are already a trainer, what do you specialize in right now? Let me know in the comments. My name is Stephanie Hope, and thank you for watching Alt Protein. Don't forget to subscribe for more science-led conversations about health.